Right, so now let's do the coding part. So I think the first thing that we'll do is to just link up this button to take it to the create contact. So I'm going to go to the main activity and I'm going to say on btn create, we're just going to take it to the next activity. So I'm going to say intent equals new intent. And on that intent, you need to first indicate the context, which will be the main activity where we're currently at. And then we want to go to the fully qualified create contact. So you'll see that we've got za.co. whatever. So I'm just going to go through that whole process, program me, whatever, and then I'm going to choose create contact. So it's basically your package name, and then after that, your class where you want to go. And we want to go to create contact. Just go to a new line there, and I'm going to add a dot class at the end. Then we'll just say start activity. In this case, we want to use the start activity for result method because we want to get back to this activity and do something here. So I'm going to use this one, and you'll see that we need an intent to pass through and a request code. So the intent will be this intent, obviously. Now the request code, I'm going to declare it at the top there. I'm going to have final int, and I'm going to call this, what did we call the activity? It's create contact. And I'm going to set it to 1. Just a unique value to identify this specific activity, create contact. Okay, so then the second argument there will be create contact. So now we start the activity for a result, and then it goes to this activity, create contact. And when it comes back, we need a method where it can come back into. So we're going to right click there, and you're going to say generate, override methods, and you're going to search for the on activity result method. So there's the on activity result method, and already you can see that we have the request code coming back, which will be this code there. Because we're only working with one activity, it doesn't really matter, but all of the activities coming back, you can test which one came back by looking at that unique code. So we know if the request code here is equal to this contact, what did I call it there at the top, create contact. If it's equal to create contact, then we know it came back from the create contact activity. Okay, so we'll come back and finish the coding on the on activity result. For now, if we click on the button, it will take us to the create contact class and with this unique code. And also it starts the activity for a result. And on the other side, we need to set the result. So now we arrive at this activity that looks like this, where we ask the user, please enter your name, your number, your email address, and so forth. But now we have 3 buttons, and all 3 buttons wants to do the same thing. We want to go back to the main activity and basically open up this part. So now what we're going to do here, instead of setting every button to their own on-click listener, I'm going to delete that and show you something else. I'm going to say here, implements on-click listener. So now if we implement the on-click listener, then it will not be happy, so it wants a method where it can go to. So we're going to say generate implement methods, and you can see there's the on-click method. So that on-click method is the method then that will run as soon as any of these buttons that we're going to set up now, or the image views, are clicked. So I'm going to say ivsad.setOnClickListener, and I'm just going to pass in the this keyword, which means that the on-click listener will be the create contact class, and it will handle the on-click for me. And when it gets clicked, it goes into this method. So I'm going to explain that further now. You're probably wondering, how will I know then which button was clicked? We'll get to that now. So we're going to say ivhappy also .setOnClickListener, also pass in this, and ivok.setOnClickListener, and also passing in this. Right, so all 3 of them will come into the same on-click method. And we need to check now which one of these buttons was actually clicked. So we're going to do that now. First thing before we check which button was clicked is we need to make sure that the user entered data on every single one of these. Let's see what's the problem there. Okay, there's compile errors because that file is not complete. Okay, no worries there. Okay, so we're going to go there and ask and see if the et name .getText .toString .is empty. if that one is empty, or, and I'm going to quickly copy this because this is going to take a while. So if that one is empty, or ET number is empty, I'm going to go to a new line, or ET web is empty, or the last one will be that ET map could also be empty. So if any one of them, just going to remove that last or there. If any one of them is empty, then we're going to make sure that the user first type everything. So we're going to say, please enter all fields. Right, and the else part means now the user has typed something in every single one of these edit texts. So now what can we do then if the user typed everything there? So I'm going to create an intent now, because we want to send back the data now. So the data that the user types here, we want to send now back to the main activity and start showing the data on these buttons, okay, or image views that access buttons. So I'm going to say new intent, and on this intent we will not start a new activity, we'll just close it. So I'm not going to use this intent to go to another activity, but I'm going to use this intent to send back some data with it. So on this intent, we know now that the user typed everything there. So I'm going to use the put extra, and what I send through first is maybe the name, although we're not using the name, but I can send the name through by saying etName.getText.toString.trim. So that is the name. Remember, your put extra method is a key and a value pair. What are you going to name the data, and then what is the data itself? Okay, so let's do the same thing again. Intent.putExtra. This time we will call it, that's for the number, so I'll call it number there, and it will be etNumber.getText.toString.trim again. Then we're going to say again intent.putExtra, and again, what are we going to call the data? So the next one is the web. So that's the web page. I'm going to call it web, and then it's going to be etweb.getText.toString.trim. Right, so we've got the name, we've got the number, we've got the website. So the last one there, intent.putExtra. The last one will be the map. So we're going to call it map, and it will be etmap.getText.toString.trim. And now we have all 4 pieces of data except for one. So we've got everything that the user typed there, but remember that whatever the user clicks here on any one of these buttons, that same picture must be displayed there. Okay, so how are we going to do that? And that's now where we need to know which one of these 3 buttons that will come to this on click, which one of them was clicked. So I'm going to say if, and you'll see the view there. Remember that everything that you place on this list, on this layout file, is in fact a view or some sort of view. So the view that was clicked, whether it's a button or an image view or a text view, or whatever you made clickable, that view object will be passed in. So I'm going to refer to that view object, that will be the one that was clicked, and I'm going to call getID. So basically, if we click this one, the getID method will return IVHappy. If I click this one, it will return IVOK. If I click that one, it will return IVSad. So I know exactly what's the ID, and I just need to go and test it against a specific ID. So the first ID that I want there is IVHappy. So now I know in this if statement that button was clicked. If I'm going to say else, if the view.getID is equal to r.id.iv OK. So then I know the OK button was clicked, or took us to this specific click listener. And then the last one, the else, will be the last button that was clicked, which will be the sad one. Okay, so what do we want to do then? We want to send one last piece of data with, and that is the mood. So I'm going to say intent.putExtra, and I'm going to call that the mood. Now the second argument is now which button was clicked. So I'm going to say this one is happy. I'm going to use it as all lowercase. That was the happy button that was clicked. Now I'm going to do the same for all 3, for this one and for that one. But here, if it's the OK button, the text that I'll pass through is OK. And if it's the last one there, which is sad, I'll pass through the text sad. So then remember that all of those put extra methods will run, and then only one of these three will run, depending on which button was clicked. Right, and then we just set the result. We set the result as result OK. And then we pass in this extra data, which is this intent with all the put extra methods. And then we can just close down this activity. So I'm going to say contact.this. Let's create contact, sorry. Create contact.this.finish. And that closes down the activity. So then when we set the result, this intent with all the information on it will be sent back. And if we finish it, it will go back to the main activity and it will land into an activity result. So what is the request code? It was the unique code that we started it with. So I'm testing for that value to see that we actually came back from create contact. And then what is the result code? The result code is what you set the result this side, which is OK. And if the user clicks on, for example, the back button, then the result will be cancelled. And then the last one there's an intent with data that came through, and it will be this intent where we used all the put extra methods. Right, so now let's go back to main activity and finish the onActivity result method. So as soon as we get back to this page, we want to start showing all of these. So we first want to see if the result code was okay. So I'm going to just check first if the result code was equal to result okay. Then we know everything went fine that side. We got all the information and it was passed through. So now you remember that we set all of these components to view.gone. So copy that and we're going to go down. And now instead of setting them gone, we will set them visible. Visible and visible again. Right, so now they're all visible, we can see them, and now we want to do a few things. Now, because the data came back here, and we want to use some of the data on IV location and web and phone, we need to have variables at the top for that. So I'm going to have a string for the name. I'm going to have a string, let's set the name there to nothing. And I'm going to have also a number. I'm going to set it also to nothing. I will have web and also set it to nothing. And I will also have map and set it to nothing. And if we want to, we can also actually set the mood there and get the mood back. So I'll say mood, and the mood will also just be nothing there. Okay, so now we've set up all the variables. Let's see if we can get all of those. So the first one I'll start with is the name. How will we get the name back now? So remember, in the create contact, we said intent.putExtra, and it's called name, and then we pass it through. So how do we get it back? That intent will go into this one there, so it's called data. So I'm going to say data.getStringExtra, and I'm going to pass in what we called the data. So we called the data name. So on that side, we must extract it exactly the same way. Right, there's a little mistake there. Just close down that one. Okay, now the next one, we've got the name. Now let's get the number. So I'll say number equals data.getStringExtra again. And let's just see what we called it there for the number. We called it number as well. So exactly the same spelling, number. Then the next one, after number, we'll get web. So I'm going to say web equals data.getStringExtra. And I think we also called it web that side. Let's just make sure we called it web, and the other one we called map. So let's get the map quickly. Map equals data.getStringExtra, and we called it map as well. So now we get it back. We've got the name, the number, the web, and the map, and then the last one is the mood. So let's get the mood back also. Mood equals data.getStringExtra. And then what did we call that one? I think we called it mood. There we go. We called it mood for those three. So depending on which one of those three actually got clicked, the mood will be set. Right, so we've got the name, the number, the web, the map, and the mood. Now what we want to do is to set this picture now first. So I'm going to set that picture first. We want to set that according to the mood. So now the mood was sent through. We've got the mood and we need to check it for those three different values. So I'm going to say if the mood dot equals, and now I need to go and look at the values that I gave there. If it's happy, okay, or sad. So let's search first for happy. If it equals happy, then I'm going to go to the image view, which we called Ivy mood. I'm going to set the image resource to r.drawable.iv. We didn't call it Ivy. I think we just called it happy there. Let me just make sure we called it happy. Yeah. So we're going to refer to happy. Okay. Now the else if the mood dot equals, other one was sad. So if the mood is sad, then I'm going to do exactly what I did there. I'm also going to set the image resource, but in this case I'll set it to, hopefully we call it sad there. And then we know that if it's not one of those two, it must be the last one. So then we set that one to okay. There you can see the three pictures that we're going to set it to. Right, and then we can just do an else on this result code. So the else there, if the result code is not okay, then we know that no data was passed through. So we can just say something like no data passed through. Right, we are almost done. So now if you run the app, you won't really see anything happening except for this picture that will change. So we need to quickly code what's going to happen when we click on these three. And this is where the implicit intents come in. So let's quickly go to the main activity again, and we'll start with the first one, the phone. So remember that we sent through data, and there's the number that we want to dial. It's in that number variable. So inside of Ivy phone, I'll set up intent equals new intent. And the intent that I want to use here is the action dial. So I'm going to say action, not dot, sorry, action underscore dial. Intent action dial. Okay, so that is what we want to do. We want to dial, but we want to dial a specific number. So I'm going to say URI.pass. I'm going to have a telephone number there, but the telephone number I will get from my number variable. So whatever the user typed there as his telephone number will be sent back to the main activity, and there we get it. So it's in that number variable, and there I'm referring to it. And then the last thing that we'll do is to just start the activity with the intent. So that button is done. Let's go to Ivy Web. So for the web, it's basically the same thing. I'm going to copy those two lines, but instead of saying action dial, we're going to say action view, because you view a web page, and then we need to add the web address there. So it's safer to go and add the HTTP there for the user, and then go and show his web page that he typed. So remember, the user typed there what is the web address, we send it back to the main activity, there we get it, and it's in the web variable, and we're showing it there. Right, last one, Ivy location. So I'm going to add, it's also view, but instead of saying this part there, we need to have a geolocation. Let me just remove that. So we're going to say geo 0,0 question mark q equals, and then after that we show whatever that specific map or the location on the map will be. So that will be the map variable. So I'm going to say map there, and then everything should be fine now. So let's run this and see if this application works now how we want it to work. Right, so there it started running. The front page, perfect. Click there, it takes us to this activity. I'm going to enter the name there, John. I'm going to enter a number. Let's just take any number there. I'm going to enter a web address. I'm going to enter a location, 115. Let's say Nelson Mandela. And then I'm going to choose any one of these. So let's choose that one. And you'll see it shows that picture perfectly. If I click there, it will call my number. Hopefully, there we go. If I go back again and I click on the web page, I can open with Chrome. Let's see if it opens up. There we go, backendless.com. That will open up the web page, and then we can go back and click on location. That should open up Google Maps and show that location, 115 Nelson Mandela, Bloemfontein. Right, so that's basically it for this video. So I hope that you've got this one correct and that this was an easy challenge